Hello again, this is UML Operator. All right, in this session, we're going to be talking about Sparx Enterprise Architects enable concise diagram navigation. So what am I talking about? Well, we're in the Start tab right here, and if we go to Visual Style, we're going to see something underneath Window called Enable Concise Diagram Navigation. Let's go ahead and check that. By factory default, this is checked for you, and we're going to hit OK. So now in this sample project I have a cover page that has 3 packages in it. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. We go to Applications. So you'll notice up at the top, as soon as I launch that, there's this back arrow. So I can hit the back arrow and I can go back to the cover page. Let's go to Scope. Back arrow. I can go back and I can go back to the cover page. Now, and the same thing for use case. All right. So we'll talk about other forms of navigation in a moment, but this is package navigation. Simply drag and drop a package in. It launches the first diagram that's under that package. So here's Scope. Here's the packet. Here's the diagram underneath that package. Right. So I don't like this, the back arrow and so on. If I'm doing a client presentation, I want to be able to talk about all the diagrams in which I've launched. So we're going to go in the Start tab. We're going to go to Visual Style, and we're going to turn off Enable Concise Diagram Navigation. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now watch what happens when I launch this package. I have the originating package at the top of the workspace, work area. That's what this is. Tabs for me are configured across the top. You may configure yours. I show you that in the preference video across the bottom, but I like them on the top. All right, go back, I launch my scope, and now I have this model up, next applications, and the next one I want to talk about are the use cases. Now I have all 4 diagrams up, one being the cover page, one being applications, one being scope, and the other one being use cases. All right. So what I like to do is use this form of hyperlink for navigation. So I'm on the cover page. We're going to right click on this. We're going to close everything except for the cover page. I like to set up this type of navigation where I select next. It goes to the next diagram I want to talk about. I can hit previous and I can go back to the previous diagram where we came from. So I'm going to hit next again. I'm going to hit next again. I go to the next diagram I want to talk about, scope. I can hit next again and I bring up use cases. And again, I can go back this way. So very powerful means of navigation. And that's simply, if I unlock this cover page, let's unlock it. And we've got applications. Let's bring in something different. We're going to bring in scope. So if I drag and drop this in, I have choices here. I can bring it as a hyperlink, or I can bring it in as a navigation cell. Let's bring the first one in as a navigation. I'm sorry, as a hyperlink. I love navigation cells. So I'm going to hit OK. Now you see a hyperlink, which I can come in and I can give it a name. Let's just call this next. And then, I might want to put something in like that. And then I can come up here, right click on this on properties, and I can turn off or hide the icon, that page icon you see right there. And you go to layout and I can size the font to make it look like this. All right. That's one way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. The other one is I can drag and drop a diagram in as a navigation cell. And when I do that, we're bringing in scope. Let me just bring in this. So you choose that. I like that icon for scope. So looks like requirements in Sparx. I can now in navigation cells, I get this bubble right here where I can view the diagram before I launch it, right? And I can hit the X to close it, or if I just go outside of focus on this, it will also close it as well. All right, so this is another form. Let me go ahead and delete this from the diagram, and let me go ahead and save. right click, and we're going to lock it back up again. All right. So in this, using navigation cell, I can select it. And then from here, I can go to scope, or I can go right to use cases. Let's go to scope. Let's go to scope. Because I had scope already up, it went right to it. If I close scope, and let's close use cases, and I'm here. If I go to use cases, launches it as a new window. If I go to scope, launches it a new window. Notice it launched them in the order in which I navigated to them or launched them. And if I want to change the order, just hold the mouse button, drag them back and forth. All right. So I like this form better for navigation, outside of the back arrow and having to deal with that, hunt and peck. If I have several diagrams that are up and I'm in Q&A and I want to be able to go back, I like to bring up the tabs across my work area here. So I got a lot of questions on this. Modelers were asking me, hey, when I launch a diagram, it's just in a single tab at the top of my work area. How do you do that where it keeps the tabs up? And it's totally up to you if you want to do it. You simply go to Start, you go to Visual Style, and then underneath Windows, you just check this on or off. If you enable it, it's concise. Basically, whatever tab it's in, it's going to launch the diagram underneath it. If you disable it, it's going to, let me go ahead and hit OK, because that's the way I like it. It's going to bring up whatever the tabs are from the order in which you selected or navigated to them. So again, I hope this video helped you. Thanks very much for watching. I love the support and the questions. Really appreciate it. And until the next time we talk, happy modeling.